Let's get started with Windows Deployment Services, or WDS. And before we actually begin this video, I just want to tell you that if you want to follow along, you will need to have a server on which we have to install WDS, which has a little more space on C than usual, or maybe with a separate disk. This is needed because in this video we are going to import the Windows image on this server, and who knows, maybe in the future we may do more things with this server, I'm not sure. But I have added a disk of 70 gigabytes as the C drive, just in case. So very quickly, what are the steps that we are going to make in this video? We are going to install WDS, then we are going to configure it. We are going to import a boot and install image for Windows Server 2012, so we can install it from the network. And just to make sure that we did everything right, we are going to make also a test installation. So let's get going. I'm on my new server, WDS01. And as you see, I have the C drive 70 gigabytes. So I'm prepared for whatever scenario I may come up with in the future. I also have the Windows Server 2012 DVD mounted. And also we will need a Windows Server 2012 R2 ISO, and you will see why after some minutes. Okay, then let's begin by installing the WDS role. Next. Windows Deployment Services. Okay. Next. We have to install both deployment server and transport server. And hit install. And it was quick, it's already done. Now that we installed the role, we have the new Windows Deployment Services MMC console here. Let's open it. And click on servers. You see that WDS01 has an exclamation mark because we need to configure some settings. Right click, configure. Next. And here we have a choice to configure it as integrated with AD or standalone. We can integrate it with AD, which will help us a little. This is the path where all the data for WDS will be held. Usually it's not recommended to have it on the C drive, but in this case, since a test environment, I'm okay with it. And this is actually the warning about the C drive. Now, because we are installing from the network, we have a couple of choices to respond or to not respond to clients when they request the image. I will choose to respond to all clients, whether they are known or unknown to the server. For now, we will not add images, just untick this and finish. So now we have the server configured, but we still have some things to take care of. Right-click, Properties. So PXE response, we saw it already. In ADDS, this is a good tab to discuss about. We can set the location where a new server will be put in Active Directory. And actually I really want to set the general OU. All new servers should be put here. And we can also make like a template name for new servers. And I want all the servers to be called SRV and the number. we just have to say srv, and then since the number is dynamic, it's not static text, we need the percent, and also we need the number of maximum characters. Let's say 3, so we can install from srv1 to srv999, and the pound symbol means that we will have a number after srv, and the number will have maximum 3 characters. Next, let's apply, and let's go next through everything. In this case, we will not touch this screen. It's okay like this. Whenever we boot with a client from the network, we have to press either F12 for BIOS clients or enter for UEFI clients. Here also it's a little more complex. We could add an XML file which is called an unattended file, to which we could give a lot of customization options to our machine, but we will not do this in the video. I am actually just going to want to enable logging. In DHCP we do not have to do anything. This tab is only in case we install WDS on a DHCP server. For multicast we don't have to do anything, and actually we are done. Well, I'm not going to go through any of the other configuration tabs. Now that the settings are done, let's import an operating system image. So just click on install images, right click and say add install image. And we have to create an image group. I will call it WS for Windows Server. And we have to choose the actual image to import. And of course, the image is on the D drive, on the DVD, in sources. And it's called install.wim, the 3 GB one. This is actually the whole C drive of a newly installed Windows OS. And you see that it has actually 4 flavors of Windows available in the image, and I'm going to import all of them. And we have to wait for the WIM file to be copied to our server. And now that the image has been imported, we can see in install images under the WS image group that we have the 4 OS flavors. And we have, so this is just the image that will be placed on the hard drive. We for now do not have an image that will allow us to install the OS during the first step, like we would put a DVD in the DVD drive, for example. That image is called a boot image, and what I found is that the boot image from the 2012 DVD does not work with generation 2 VMs, in the idea that if I try to write anything from the keyboard, it seems that the keyboard is not recognized. I tried to fix it by adding different drivers in the image, but still nothing. So what I'm going to do is mount on this virtual machine the Windows Server 2012 R2 DVD and get the boot image from that one, because that one works, because I have tried it. So then on my Hyper-V node, this is WDS1, and let's change the ISO image to a 2012 R2 one. And now it's time to also add a boot image. Just specify the location, and the location is again the DVD drive in sources, and it's called boot.wim. You see it here. And this name, in case you have multiple boot images, like for example you may have a bare metal recovery boot image to do your recoveries, you may have a WDS image to make Windows installations, maybe you have different special boot images like an image with recovery tools and stuff like that. This is the name that would appear in the menu to choose your image. In our case, we will not get such a menu because we have only one image, so I do not care. We can leave it like this. And this image is small, so it's fast to copy. And it's also done. Now we basically have all the things in place to be able to install a server from the network and also put it in the domain with our naming convention. What is left to do is to create a virtual machine and test it out. So again, on my Hyper-V server, I will create a new VM. And this one really I don't care about it. I guess I'm gonna delete it after, so I just I will set a name. I don't really care about it. Generation 2, of course. As far as memory goes, let's use also dynamic memory. Let's add it to our network. Hard drive, and now the installation will be done from the network, so we can choose the third option. Finish. And just a couple of things left to do. I want a maximum of 2 GB of RAM. I want 2 CPUs. Yeah, these things actually don't matter anymore because I will get rid of it. So then let's start the VM and see how everything looks like. And you see it's starting to boot from the network. And it found our server. We have to press enter. And now you see it's downloading the boot.wim. Exactly like it would do if you would put in a CD in the CD-ROM drive, a DVD actually. We are not installing XP. And compared to installing it from a DVD, you see the interface is similar, but you will have different screens, or the screens will look a little differently. We can choose the language of the keyboard and the locale. Now we have to enter a user that is authorized to access the share that has been created in C remote install on the WDS server. In our case, this is the only user in the domain, so it's okay. Now we see our 4 images. Let's install a server core since it's a little faster. Now we can choose the disk. We have only one, so not much choice there. And in this moment it will start and copy the install image from the WDS server. After it is done, I will check inactive directory to see if the account is created, and we will also make sure that we can log on with the administrator of the domain, which should mean that the machine is correctly installed and put in the domain. And the machine looks to be installed. And you see the sign into the domain appears, so it's a good sign. Let's try also to log on. And it's working. Now I just want to also check the domain controller in Active Directory users and computers. So I'm on DC01, and in general we have SRV1, which is correct. So seems like we did everything correctly, and we can now install a Windows Server from a network. I want to continue this experiment in the next video by connecting to the WSUS server with PowerShell, finding all the available updates for Windows Server 2012 and injecting them into the install image, so that newly installed 2012 machines will have all the available updates that we have in WSUS at the moment. So if you want to see and get notified when the video comes out, then don't forget to subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate a like and a share. And I will see you in the next one.